Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. When you're in a contest, say even a game, like a game of checkers or a game of chess or Monopoly, you want to have a strategy and you want to try to outwit the other contestants. Take that to another level. If you're in the army and there's a war between different countries, there are always strategies, and they're designed to get the advantage or get the victory over your opponent. Take those two ideas that we're familiar with and apply them to your life as a follower of Jesus. An enemy always tries to outwit, to get advantage, to outsmart the other person. And Paul applies that concept to our lives as followers of Jesus, because we do have an enemy, and the enemy is Satan. And here's what Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. In order that Satan might not outwit us, for we are not unaware of his schemes. Now that one little verse is just packed full of amazing information and advice for us in spiritual warfare, in our lives of trying to be faithful followers of Jesus. So let me just break it down for a moment. So Satan exists. Satan wants to do one thing, and that is to rob, kill, and destroy what God has done for you. That's his goal. He wants to rob, kill, and destroy your family. He wants to rob, kill, and destroy the church. That's Satan's goal. There's an enemy. So we understand there is an enemy. Real enemy. So how does the enemy work? He doesn't come at us with a frontal attack. Instead, Paul says, in order that Satan might not outwit us, he tries to outwit us. He tries to trick us. He's the father of lies. He can't speak the truth. He shades the truth. So he wants to outwit us. I was thinking about, what does outwit us mean? To outwit someone. It means to outsmart them. You convince them of something, and there's really a trick behind it. Other translations, instead of outwit, they say take advantage, get advantage of us, outsmart us, those types of things. The idea is to trick you. He wants to outsmart you. And then it says, so we don't want Satan to outsmart us. You don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. So what do? For we are not unaware of his schemes. So Satan has schemes, well-known and documented schemes. Scheme is a way of acting, a way of attacking. Satan's schemes are clear from the book of Genesis chapter 3 all the way through the New Testament. He has schemes. So what do we want to do? We want to be aware. We don't want to be unaware of his schemes. We want to say, okay, this is how Satan works. I'm aware of how Satan works. And awareness is the key in spiritual victory and spiritual warfare. So as we think about that, this verse, chapter 2, verse 11, is the conclusion of what Paul is saying in verse 1 through 10. And he's talking about somebody who has sinned, and they've had to be excluded from the church. Their sin has had to be dealt with. All right? So that's what had to happen. But Satan has a scheme that he's trying to work. And you know what that scheme is? To be unforgiving. Unforgiving. And so Paul in chapter 2, verse 1 through 10, talks about forgiving the offender, because unforgiveness is one of Satan's most potent, most powerful schemes. You are hurt. You deal with the hurt. You're justified in dealing with that hurt, separating from the person. So you've done everything right. You haven't done anything wrong. But now Satan comes in with a little scheme. The scheme is, don't forgive that person. Hold a grudge. Hold that memory. And that unforgiveness will start to turn into bitterness. And bitterness will start to poison your personality and your spirit. It'll poison you, and it'll eventually destroy you. As someone once said, bitterness only consumes the vessel within which it is consumed. So that's Satan's scheme. It doesn't seem right. Someone hurt me, and now Satan's going to work a scheme against me? That's not fair. Of course it's not fair. Satan is never fair. So you're the victim, but if you don't forgive, you will end up more than a victim. You'll end up a broken person. And Jesus forgave, as an example. He forgave us and tells us to forgive other people. So his scheme, one of his main schemes, that seems just normal, is not to forgive. Not to forgive. Well, they did that to me, forget it. I'm not forgiving. I've had people tell me that in difficult situations. I'm not saying it's easy. Remember a woman who was abused repeatedly for years by a family member, a male family member, when she was a little girl, told me and my wife, I will never forgive. And she had a broken life. She just couldn't forgive. We prayed for her, counseled her. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a scheme of Satan. So, my friends, two things that we need to apply today. So Satan doesn't outwit us. Two things so Satan doesn't outwit us. Number one, be aware of his schemes. Number two, forgive whoever hurts you. God bless you, and I will see you on Monday.